Welcome everybody to this episode of the Bob Pizzini Show, coming to you from the Podfinity Nation studios in West Palm Beach, Florida. What an honor it is to not only participate in this podcast and be part of this great Warriors Haven organization, but also I get to have great discussions with great people. And today's guest is super special. It's so ironic how we wound up sitting here today, my friend Jose Vazquez. And Jose, welcome to the Bob Pizzini Show.
Thanks for having me.
So I'm going to read Jose's bio real quick, and then we're going to get into a great discussion. Jose is a retired Special Forces Sergeant Major with multiple deployments with the 7th Special Forces Group and the Joint Special Operations Command, aka JSOC. While assigned to the 7th Special Forces Group, Jose deployed numerous times to Central and South America and twice to Afghanistan in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, Combined Joint Task Force 76 from 2004 to 2005, and CJTF Task Force Afghanistan from 2018 to 2019. While assigned to JSOC, Jose deployed to Qatar in support of both Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom. Jose spent some time as a military freefall instructor, and that's really how we met. I own and operate iFly Virginia Beach, as many of you know. And Jose was a Air Ops trainer, highest level of qualification. I'll hit a couple of them here, and then we'll go on to what he's doing now. Jose became a military freefall examiner and tandem instructor examiner with 5,084 jumps to include 3,000 plus student jumps and more than 1,700 tandem jumps, as well as a professional jump demonstrator. Did you see that guy get snagged on that sign up at Virginia Tech about a month ago?
Sure did.
Do you know him?
I know him personally.
Yeah. My son goes to Virginia Tech. He's a junior. He was at that game. He sent me video of it, seconds after it happened. So pretty.
He's lucky to be alive.
Yeah, pretty remarkable. After retirement with 29 years of service, 29, quitter. 29 years of active service, Jose continued his passion for teaching military freefall and works as an instructor for multiple units with the Special Operations Command and his company, Air Aware Operations, as well as starting Long Tab Lines, a nonprofit outdoor recreation company for SOF operators and their spouses, Gold Star families, and first responders. Can't wait to dig into that. Long Tab Lines is an outdoor recreation company dedicated to special operations forces and their families, Gold Star families, first responders, to reduce the suicide and divorce rate that plague those communities. These goals are twofold, as it allows Jose to have a new purpose post-military and take care of these communities while sharing similar mental, personal, and occupational health issues. And so many of us have that in common, to include our brand new Secretary of the Navy, Hung Kao, who's a retired EOD officer. I'm sure you're tracking that.
I'm tracking him for sure.
Long Tab Lines purchased a 35-foot center console boat for offshore fishing. The vessel was named the Annie Grace, after Jose's first granddaughter. Did I say that right?
Anya Grace.
Anya Grace. Long Tab Lines has 3 outdoor recreation programs, a dog training program, offshore fishing, skydiving, and shooting, and the training of Belgian Malinois. Jose Vazquez, my friend, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, accomplished career. You've done so much, and obviously we met while you were on active duty, still doing the deed, as we say. I've come to know you over many, many years. Actually, we opened 12 years ago, and I met you before we opened. So
that's right.
So for over 12 years. We've stayed in touch, and I've tracked your career, both active duty and post-military. You're doing wonderful things, as I just read. How did everything start out for you? Where did you grow up?
Well, actually, I grew up in Puerto Rico, and a portion of my life until 1988 was in the island. Then my mother, my sister, and I decided to move to the United States, and it was between Wisconsin and New York.
Okay.
And I've seen enough of New York to go, I didn't ever want to be there to grow up, let alone to do high school. So we managed to get to Wisconsin in 1988, and it was quite a shocking difference. It was June 4th, 1988. It
Wow.
was 90 plus degrees in the island, 100% humidity.
Uh-huh.
And I get to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, it was 50 degrees
Yeah.
and no humidity.
Yeah.
And then, I spent 4 years in Wisconsin, and I joined the military from there.
Okay.
So I was married in Wisconsin. I took my wife to Germany, and we had 3 children. And then that started my career of 29 years.
So what what do you call your hometown? So a town in Puerto Rico?
No, actually, my hometown is in Racine, Wisconsin.
Okay.
That's where the kids are and the grandbabies.
Gotcha.
Which,
Okay.
That is the best thing in the world is the granddaughters.
That's cool.
So I call Wisconsin my hometown.
Okay.
As I visited Puerto Rico here and there, but I have family still there. But the kids and the grandbabies are the nucleus, so that's where I call home.
That's cool. And we've discussed this before, but I grew up in Kenosha, which is right next to Racine. And so I know that area very well. And hopefully you know what a Kringle is. And, some of the most famous Kringles in America come out of Racine, Wisconsin.
O&H is one of the best bakeries in the world.
There you got
and
it.
A good old cream cheese Kringle is the way to go.
What made you decide to join the Army? And did you have your eye on Special Forces at the time?
I had no idea what Special Forces was. At the age of 17, I had a baby, and I was working for Arby's. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, there was 4 Arby's stores that were owned by Hank Aaron.
Oh, wow.
From the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah.
And as I was working through there, I ended up being one of the youngest assistant managers of Arby's at the age of 17. And I thought I would follow a career in management in the food service industry, but I decided to join a Milwaukee Army Reserve Unit as an M1 tank mechanic.
Okay.
And I went to basic training in AIT to become a tank mechanic. And
AIT, what's AIT?
AIT is where they show you your duty, whatever job. So I learned to be a M1 mechanic.
Okay.
For this unit. But I enjoy the structure of the military so much that I wanted to go on active duty. I was like, forget Arby's, I want to go in the military. This type of structure is what I need.
Okay.
So I come back, and for 3 months I worked in the unit in the process of trying to go on active duty. But as you know, close to October, the fiscal year, so the military, recruiters were not taking anybody as mechanics into active duty. So I ended up going back into the military as a cook. And that's the only thing they offered through those 3 months. And I chose it at the end because my wife was pregnant at the time with our second baby, and it was time to go. Mm-hmm. So I went to become a cook. They spent $120,000 teaching me how to be a mechanic, and $16,000 teaching me how to be a cook. But God works in mysterious ways, and that was the way for me learning what a special operator was in Germany.
Oh, okay. So you got assigned to a special operations unit as a cook?
I went as a field artillery organization, and while I was in Germany, I happened to see a special forces recruiter. This guy was dressed differently, his uniform was different, his boots were different, his hat was different, the way he wore it, and I was like, that guy looks special. I don't know what he does, but I want to be it.
Wow.
And from there, I went to the Special Forces Assessment and Selection in April of 1994, maybe 95.
Okay.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
I ended up breaking my leg on the assessment. I was in an obstacle course called Nasty Nick in Camp McCall, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I came back to Germany, broken, not selected as I was medically pushed out. But I was adamant I was going to be a Special Forces operator. So in November of that year, I went back, stronger than ever, and I passed selection. And then I came to Fort Bragg, North Carolina in early parts of 95. And that's all she wrote.
Made a career from there. So many people that I know through this format, through the podcast discussion, and just people that I've served with, and including myself, people went through struggles. Like, they didn't just get into the program. You know, a lot of people had problems, either medical issues or classification and the needs of the military, but so many people are like, man, I'm doing that one way or another. I'm going to be part of that program, and so congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Did you play sports as a kid at all?
So while I was in Wisconsin, I played volleyball.
Okay.
In Puerto Rico, I played Little League, and I was a catcher, actually.
Nice.
And that started the whole problem with my knees.
Yeah.
But in Wisconsin, I actually played volleyball in high school.
Okay.
And I also played for the team in church that we did multiple tournaments.
Yeah.
Which was pretty interesting.
All
So that
right.
was my take on sports was baseball and volleyball.
Okay. You still got the skills for volleyball?
Man, I might have the skills, but not the physical ones to do it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. No, that's cool. So, again, growing up in the city right next to where you call home, I grew up playing hockey. So, do they even have rinks in Puerto Rico? Is there any ice in Puerto Rico?
No, bro.
Okay.
About the coldest you get is in the middle of the island in the mountains.
Yeah.
With the freshwater streams, but
Yeah. No, it's all indoor, but I just had to ask because I'm part of this military group, and we travel all over the country and play hockey. Actually, the team went to Switzerland last year. I didn't join them on that trip, but it'd be cool to make a trip to Puerto Rico to play. And it's all fundraising. It's their charity games.
Let's find out if they have some ice rinks in there.
Yeah, that would be fun. That'd be a lot of fun. All right, so throughout your career, I know you served in some very unique units at a very high capacity. Stuff I want to ask you about, stuff you couldn't talk about, and stuff you probably forgot about anyway. But is there any operation or any hallmark, any high points from your career that you want to share with our viewers?
I got to tell you, everything in the special operations community is a highlight. When you look at the percentage of personnel in the military, in all the services that serve in a special operations capability, it's such an amazing experience. And I'm blessed to be part of those warriors in that world, because you can't mimic that anywhere else. But every single one of our trips as a team, whether it was Central South America, Colombia was a pretty amazing time. The whole play hard, work hard was truly a thing that took place in South America, especially in Colombia. Colombia was hot with the FARC and all those things up there, and Plan Colombia. And that was a great opportunity for me to learn how to be a Green Beret, to deal with the local populace, both from military, police, civilian entity. It's such an amazing experience that you don't get anywhere else, working with what we call the indigenous.
Doing like FID, Foreign Internal Defense, UW, unconventional warfare.
Yeah, you do all that stuff in there, but the majority of our work was, working with the country's military, training them to perform tasks that legally we couldn't perform. Yeah. You can't go to Central South America and do some of the things we did in Afghanistan, Iraq, and any of these other places, right? The ROEs, or rules of engagement, were so different and restricted. But training with those folks, you make lifelong friends in different places of folks that have the same mentality of freeing the oppressed across the world, that you can't mimic that anywhere else.
Yeah, man. You laid that whole thing out, the brotherhood, the unique aspect of being on a special forces team, and there's nothing else like it. You're absolutely right. I had the honor of serving on 2 Army Special Forces teams throughout my career. One was for my Iraqi deployment, and then a lot of time in Asia. And whether it's a SEAL team, an EOD team, a Green Beret team, that uniqueness is common. It's common in the teams. It's uncommon outside of that environment.
Well, that's for sure. The other one is, when you get to the world of Afghanistan. I never had the opportunity to go to Iraq, but 2004, 2005, I did my first deployment with 7th Special Forces Group to Afghanistan. And that was a very eye-opening, opportunity. One of the things that I learned in that time is it doesn't matter what we do and how we do it, you simply cannot win a religious war. And that is shown throughout history, whether it was the Russians in Afghanistan or now the Americans in Afghanistan. There's no winning it. They come from, those borders are so porous that it will continue on for the rest of the life.
Yeah.
I don't see a way out, right? If they're not wanting to be something different. But what I did learn is how close you get to your teammates and how difficult it is to lose a teammate and having to deal with that loss and then continue to go fight an hour later. It's very powerful, it's very difficult, but it gets you close to your people. And there's nothing similar in the world. The way you can get close to your teammates and their families after a time at war.
Yeah, wow. Again, well said. So your time in Afghanistan, how long was did you do multiple deployments there?
I did.
Yeah, okay.
So I did my first deployment in 2004, 2005 as an E7. So I was part of multiple teams, actually. Our team, as we were preparing to go, we lost our medic to another team, and then we lost one of our commo guys to another team. Green Berets are shorthanded in every way, possible way, shape, or form you could think of it. From a number standpoint, especially, and I learned this after I became a senior leader, is the numbers are skewed. On paper you have 90+% strength, but truly you are at 70, 74% strength on the teams, and they are very stretched out thin. I am the type of person that I will find a job, and because our team was not fully deployable as a team, we were going to work under the B team in the company headquarters. And I found a way to be operational by becoming 7th Special Forces Group UAV trainer.
Wow.
And way back when, in that time frame, I was learning how to play with this 3 foot by 3 foot UAVs. I don't even remember the names of those things anymore.
Yeah.
But I went to the course to become a pilot for them, and then I went to become a trainer, and I did 3 back-to-back courses, and I acquired 36 systems that hold 2 or 3 planes each.
Wow.
And I was able to go across Afghanistan and teach the ODAs how to use these things. And I managed to stay with this team anywhere between 2 and 6 weeks and go do operational stuff while also playing with UAVs. It was an interesting and completely weird dynamic of how to be in an ODA. Instead of one, I had 8 or 9 different ODAs that I worked with around, teaching them how to use the UAVs, but every time they went on missions, I was like, can I go?
Wow.
And I would go.
Wow.
It was very interesting. And then my second deployment to Afghanistan did not come back until I became a sergeant major, left JSOC, came back to 7th Group, and I did a full year as the operations sergeant major for CJSOC. Had 3 camps, and we had one of the camps was Camp Moorhead, Afghanistan, which trained all of the Afghan special forces. And that was a very interesting dynamic.
Wow, wow. So full career right up until the end, and then after that you went down to SOCOM headquarters, right? And what was that tour like?
That was eye-opening. To go from a 06 command organization to working for a 4-star in SOCOM was pretty incredible. You truly learn, the very big picture when you're working in an organization that oversees 77,000 service members, contractors, and in the whole special operations community.
So what was your role at SOCOM, or what division, what department were you working in?
So when I left 7th Special Forces Group, a quick anecdote on, I get a call from the command sergeant major of 7 Special Forces Group, Terry Sanchez. Terry, if you're listening to me, nothing bad. And he offered me the job of the training sergeant major for the whole Army, working under the sergeant major of the Army. I won't say the exact words that I said to my sergeant major, but I was like, not a chance.
Okay.
And he's like, man, you'll be good at it. And I was like, I am not going back to DC, let alone to work for the sergeant of the Army. It's not my cup of tea, bro. I want to be hands-on, whatever it is that I'm doing for the rest of my career. I asked him to send me to SOCOM if he was not going to send me or keep me in 7 Special Forces Group. And we worked it out. I ended up in SOCOM, and I worked for the current operations inside SOCOM.
Cool.
We had, it was the J33 section. We had about 1,350 personnel working the world.
Yeah,
in the Special Operations Community. And I had, the distinct opportunity to work for a great commander, Colonel Ball. And I've never seen somebody work the type of hours that commander worked. That dude was in there 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I would have to kick him out of the office. I'm like, bro, go home, go see your family. He was also a commander that, for whatever reason, through his career, he did not trust enlisted personnel.
Oh.
And in a quick story was, I am a pack animal. I need to work on a team. And for 3 months straight, I popped my head at the door of the commander. And I was like, hey, boss, good morning. I'm your new sergeant major. When you get a chance, I need to know what your expectations are. And he would nod and give me yes. And for 3 months, I really didn't talk to him. And one day he decides that, I guess he got tired of me asking him. He shows up in my office. And he's like, hey, Sergeant Major, no, you've been asking me about what the expectations are. You got a minute? And I was like, absolutely, sir, come on in. And we sat down, we talked, and I took my notebook, and he gave me all his expectations, and he stood up, and I was like, hey, where are you going, boss? We're a team. And I was like, please have a seat, and let me give you my expectations. And mine were very simple. As a senior enlisted advisor, my sole purpose on a professional side is to advise that commander on all the things necessary for his men, women, and equipment, personnel. Mm-hmm. And I said, I just have a couple of requirements for us to work as a team. Ensure that I have visibility on everything that has to do with current operations. If you send out an email that has to do with current operations in Sur, I'm in your tool line. If any of our members on the floor send you an email about current operations and I'm not on there, you add me to the tool line, you reply all, and you said, add in my sergeant major for his visibility, ensure he stays in there. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, stop going to go see the CG. That was General Clark, the 4-star at the moment.
Okay, commanding general.
Without me. And I was like, there's some things that I can say as the sergeant major that you can't say as the colonel.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, well, come on. And from then on, we actually built a friendship, not just professional, but to this day. Matter of fact, the day I called you, I called him and we talked, since I was doing a 4-hour drive.
Yeah, that's great.
And we built a good relationship, both from a professional and personal side.
That's awesome. And of course, you retired out of SOCOM, Tampa area, and this kind of takes us to long tab lines and really your interest and your dedication to foundations that support veterans across the board. And how did that transition go? And how did you establish long tab lines?
Well, interesting dynamic is in Tampa, there's a nonprofit called STAR, and it is a bunch of business owners in the greater Tampa area. It was started by 2 gentlemen that talked to SOCOM commander, and they wanted to start something to help senior leaders retiring from the MacDill Air Force Base how to transition.
And right? These are just civilians or private sector folks?
Private sector, all civilians. Well, now, it has grown to the point where the executive director is a retired Marine colonel.
Okay.
The LNOs that are still within SOCOM, CENTCOM, or any of the soft units inside there, they kind of help the civilian guys meet greet with the operators. But what that has done is they take an operator up to 2 years prior to retirement. They do a monthly dinner, and they pair them up with a business owner for that dinner. So the idea is they have the 100 cups of coffee, is what we like to call it. It's meet and greet as many of the civilian entities and business owners as possible to kind of figure out what you're going to do when you grow up. We spend 20, 30 years in a career in the military. We have no idea what a civilian is and how they act. And how do we act with them. Like, we have no idea. We can't talk the same way. We can be as direct. There's so many different ways, and it is relearning when we take off the uniform, right? It's super easy to go to work in the military. And we're the same thing every day. Right? But when you get into the civilian market, it's different. And you got to act differently. Your skills transition to the civilian market. You just have to do them slightly different. And what that does, it guides the senior leaders out of those organizations into something they might want to do. They have the ability to shadow those business owners. They have the ability to do the transition. You know, you get 4 months to do like a shadow or a fellowship program with some of these companies. You can choose whatever business model you want and those business owners. If you have an idea what you want to do, then we pair you up with a business owner in that market. For me, I was paired up with folks in the maritime world because I had an idea about long tab lines and doing it some type of foundation that would do fishing for the veteran community. Before I retired, I had started airware operations. That was an easy transition going from all of the ratings that I had in the skydiving world for military use to do a company and do contracting. So I did that. Literally, I retired on a Friday, and Sunday I went up in Virginia teaching my former unit for 2 weeks. You know, on my first contract, I was still on active duty for another 28 days.
Wow.
And I was working it.
That's cool.
The idea of long tab lines was actually a 4-year plan. I was going to work long hours in airway operations and make a bunch of money teaching folks how to fall out of planes. I was going to put every single cent into the bank and then finish opening up long-term lines, buy the boat and do all those things, and having all that money in there, begin the process of taking soft couples. Because I made the choice for the nonprofit not to take care of just the veteran, but to take care of the spouses.
For sure.
And that was very important to me, because you can deal with the veteran and work on, you know, our mental health, suicide rates, and all these things. But the divorce rates in the special operations community is insane.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to figure out a way to change that some. Part of the START network, I met a young lady from the Honor Foundation, and I'm giving her my business plan, this 4-year term for long tab lines, and she's like, I want the nonprofit and the 501c3 and all this administrative paperwork done in 6 months. And I was like, holy. So I left that breakfast in First Watch in Tampa, Florida, and as I walked out that door, I put in full throttle to get after it. I met another business owner from the marine industry, from Mastery's Engine Center, and I purchased a boat from him. We wrapped it, and we just started. In the meantime, for me to get my captain's license, get all that working, I started volunteering with a company out of Clearwater Beach that had a contract with the Coast Guard.
Wow.
St. Pete, Clearwater, Coast Guard unit. And we took this big 36-foot old tugboat, and we would do hoist operations with the Coast Guard off of Clearwater Beach. I was doing it for free until the owner told me, it's like, how do you like your new check? And I was like, oh, you're paying me? Lo and behold, I got my hours, you know, volunteering and working, you know, that job, getting wet with a bunch of kids on a boat with a Black Hawk 15 feet above my head.
Nice.
Simply to get my hours to meet the requirements to be my own boat captain.
So did you get a 200-ton open ocean, or what's 100-ton open ocean? Okay.
Yeah. And that started my world as the long tab lines vice president, executive director, boat captain, and mate, all together.
You're the president and the maintenance man, president and the janitor.
And you know, what I love about long tab lines has been my ability to take folks fishing. But the reason it's important is a Warrant Officer 4, Green Beret, Lieutenant Colonel, Green Beret, both told me after a time on the boat, fellowship and talking about the foundation and all these things, how they did not commit suicide.
Wow.
Because of the chat that we had.
Wow.
And that to me made it all worth it.
For sure.
2 lives.
Yeah.
Of 2 decorated Green Berets that finished their career and were lost.
Yeah.
And I happened to put them on the boat together one day. And I don't talk about mental health. I don't talk about none of that. I just let the conversations flow with how they need to flow.
Yeah, for sure.
And I pray for them. And I try to guide those guys and the couples to build a relationship with Christ. And the rest will fall in place. But those 2 guys telling me that I helped them by chit-chatting and just noticed them, and they didn't commit suicide, all worth it.
Yeah, that's huge, man. That's huge. You know, we have a common friend who unfortunately succumbed to suicide, talking about Chuck. And, you know, on the anniversary of his death every year, we recognize and we honor Chuck, a friend of ours who was highly accomplished, Navy Special Operations guy, EOD, you know, did everything there is to do. Probably the only person who has the same air ops qualifications as you. You know, you guys are 2 very unique people in that level of qualification, and unfortunately, you didn't get a chance to take him fishing. So,
I know.
Yeah, but thanks for the guys that you're helping. So you started in Tampa. You started in long tab lines there. We're in West Palm Beach having this discussion. Did you just move? Did you expand, or what? You know, what's your current state?
So let me bring you back just a second to Chuck.
Okay.
Before I retired, Chuck was the AFF examiner for the Parachute Association that did my shadow course for me to meet that last requirement and become an AFF examiner. And it was heartbreaking, you know, that took place. But he was, you know, I hold a very special place in my heart for Chuck, as he, you know, was my final contract to meet that last requirement that put me where I am in that skydiving world for the military. And I miss him.
Yeah.
Chuck was a great dude.
Yep, I miss him too.
So Tampa and West Palm Beach or Palm Beach area, I came to Loxahatchee, Florida, to a dog rescue place. I'm not going to mention the name yet. They have a large rescue facility, and they have a program for service animals for veterans. That they're standing up and trying to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
But they had an interest on building and/or housing active duty service member dogs through schools, deployments, even long-term PCSs up to 3 years. If they couldn't take their animals to their new location, they would house them for free. And I came with one of my companies with a business plan that would make a hybrid kennel across every single one of the soft units across the whole U.S.
Wow.
And this was a profit, nonprofit, half and half company. Half of the company was the nonprofit to house the dogs for service members when they would deploy and/or school. And the other half would build the profit side would have vet clinic, dog training, both for military and civilian. And that part would feed the nonprofit to house the dogs at no cost. But it was twofold, because it would allow for a transition location of a profession for all the soft unit veterinarians, vet techs, dog handlers, kennel master.
Wow, you were thinking big.
To retire from, a career. If they were retiring from that organization, they would have a place to go to transition into a business, i.e. giving them purpose. When I came for the interview, she offered me a job of the COO. I talked to my business partner. I said, if I do it from the inside out, it could make it easier. Unbeknownst to me, I learned a very hard lesson working for a civilian company that does not have the moral compass that we
require. Yeah.
Bottom line, she tried to buy my moral compass, and I looked at her in the eyes and says, there isn't enough money that can buy my moral compass. Illegal activity, drugs in the company cannot happen while I'm your second in command. You either give me the reins or just terminate my services. So she decided 10 weeks into it to terminate my services. And I am as happy as could be because of it.
Because it got you over here to...
Got me to Palm Beach.
Got you to Palm Beach.
And one of the I'm a true believer that God doesn't make mistakes on why things happen. Is it hard that, I came, sold my house and all this stuff? Absolutely. But I met a wonderful woman, Daniela. We've been together for a year, and I've met her because I came to that company. And we're inseparable. And I'm at peace in that relationship, right? And that's one of the things that I want to be able to figure out a way to set that process for soft couples to find that peace.
And so you just brought long tab lines with you, the whole organization. So you went from fishing off the west coast of Florida to fishing off the east coast of Florida?
Yes. The fishing has been put on hold because of the whole transition and putting area operations on hold. This is getting ready to kick off in the next couple of months again. I'm getting ready to do a contract in Arizona for the Navy EOD.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is such a blessing.
I'm jealous, man. I'm totally jealous.
and 100% of the money I make in area operations go to long tab lines. Simultaneously, I met another nonprofit called Hooks of Hope. It's up in Vero Beach. The founder, his name is John Lesnick. And this is a faith-based nonprofit that brings veterans of all the services to Vero Beach for 3 days. They stayed in this little cabins by the beach. There's fellowship, there's psychology, there's a hormonal doctor that speaks, the SOF Network, which is a group of 160 plus psychologists across the U.S. that are specific to the SOF community. They're part of that. There's church, and then there's a whole lot of fishing.
Okay.
We have sometimes 2 boats and sometimes 4 boats, depending how many veterans are there. And I provide the boat or my services to the team to go help the veterans, and we go fishing. But one of the best parts of that has been the number of veterans that we have baptized.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
That have accepted Christ and have chosen to move from this mindset of I can no longer do it. It's one of the hardest things to hear from a buddy is I'm tired. I don't know if I want to do it anymore. And when that happens, man, we have to interdict.
For sure.
Because when those words come out of one of our mouth, they want to kill themselves. And Hooks of Hope has been an amazing opportunity, meeting them and working with them and giving my time to them, and to bring more veterans into a relationship with Christ. Man, you can't get any better than that.
So Hooks of Hope, is there a website, hooksofhope.com or .net or something?
Hooksofhope.org.
Okay, .org, hooksofhope.org. And is that the pathway for veterans to find out about the organization, sign up for some of these, some of the programming, this 3-day event you mentioned?
That's correct.
Okay.
And the next one is in August.
All right.
And there's some openings. So if you know any veterans, I'm getting ready to pull some strings and try to bring as many as we can.
Okay, and spouses?
No, this is just veterans.
Just veterans, gotcha.
Yeah. But once, towards the late part of summer, I'm going to do the first fishing trip for soft couples on this side of the waterways.
Nice.
And so I'm excited for that, as I'll be able to put some money into it from the jump contract to get those folks in there. But Hooks of Hope, they're doing very well. They have, right now there's 3 dates that are set in there that have openings. So anybody interested, hooksofhope.org, and I'll be there.
That's cool.
Supporting.
That's cool. I hope several veterans see this and sign up as a result of seeing this podcast. That would be awesome. As a matter of fact, that needs to be one of the shorts that we make out of this is Hooks of Hope. So note to the editor. Really cool. So with Hooks of Hope, long tab lines, you still have your AeroWare, and that is so cool that you're going to Arizona to work on. I think it's the first course they're running, right?
This is the second one, I believe.
Okay.
They just did one that was the one that got checked by SOCOM.
Yeah.
For validation.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they call it a JSOC or something. But the validation from SOCOM.
Okay.
To ensure that it is a course that can be issued a certificate. Right, so they go by A to Z on the book and all the regulations for military free fall for all special operations.
Yeah.
And they go checklist by inspectors of SOCOM and other entities that have buy-in into it. And
that's cool.
they passed.
So just for the listeners' benefit, so Navy EOD just established their own military static line and free fall course out in Arizona, but the Army is the executive agent for all military skydiving, generally speaking. So the Army had to go out and validate and finalize and approve the course, and that's what you just described. So pretty cool. Back to Hooks of Hope and long tab lines and the canine aspect. So where are you in service dog? You came to the East Coast of Florida with a vision of providing service dogs, and where does that stand?
So that company is doing some. They use rescue animals, which could turn out to be good, could turn out to be bad, depending on the environment those rescue animals come from. So you have to do a lot of good studies of those dogs in the rescue world to make them service dogs. As I transitioned from Tampa to this side, I had 2 service dogs, Belgian Malinois, in training that are mine. Mm-hmm. And that was the beginning of the 4th program for long tab lines. I worked with a company in Tampa called Serenity Canine. They assisted me in the initial training of the dogs, and then I continued on with the dogs on a daily basis, especially Belgian Malinois truly require daily training. To the point now that at 2.5 years old for both the dogs, they're both, certified service animals. There's a very fine line in the whole ADA service dogs, right?
What is ADA?
ADA is the American Disabilities Act that has the details what a service animal is supposed to do. There are a lot of companies out there that talk about certifying dogs to be service animals. And there's a misconception on a piece of paper certificate in accordance with federal law, and the ADA is not required. And the reason they don't require specific certification from companies is to ensure that even a handler can train their dog to do something specific in accordance with the A to Z of what a service animal is supposed to do. They just have to meet those requirements under the law and to do something, a service for that person that is required for a disability. Mm-hmm. So when you have companies out there talking about certifying a service animal in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, that's a fallacy. The service animal takes 18 months at least to be trained for a specific task. Matter of fact, one of my Malinois just had his first session to go through TSA security.
Oh, wow.
And he's 2.5 years old. You can't mimic that. Mm-hmm. TSA is not going to let you go train at the airport and go back and forth through security, right? So unless you have a ticket to go somewhere, you can get your Department of Transportation number for an airline for the dog, and you might not be able to train unless you have a facility that has a mock-up of a plane and security and all this things. So there's certain ways of doing it. There's just guidelines that you have to meet in accordance to the American Disabilities Act, and you can train your own dog.
Okay, so is your mission or your vision at this point just training service dogs for yourself, or are you?
No, so there's two animals. We're kind of the test bed.
Okay.
To get them to the point of being able to be called a service animal and perform the certain duties. And these two dogs do it for TBI, PTSD for me.
Okay.
So they manage or watch, my emotions and reactions. And if they see me, sitting in a chair like this and kind of flustered, they'll end up bringing their nose to me, pawing me, touching me. They just change whatever is the thought process you're having.
Yeah.
That's what they do. You can teach a dog to do all kind of different things.
Yeah.
Could be to assist on walking, to help you stand up, to grab keys, you name it.
Wow. But
it all depends.
But they recognize stress and they help you deal with that.
Yes.
Wow.
So my goal now, having these two, is one at a time, grabbing a dog. I realized that not every service member could take on a Belgian Malinois to be a service dog. So I've talked to Serenity Canine, the owner is named Kevin Cathcart, and we'll do Belgian Malinois, but most likely we will do Labradors and soft-eared dogs instead of pointy-eared dogs.
Okay.
Simply because of the drives of the dogs and the physical ability of the veteran will make that decision. So we're going to start.
They select the kind of dog they want, or you said the physical ability makes that. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll look at the veteran specifically. For long time lines, we're going to start a list and put it out into probably the SF Brothers page of who is in need, and we'll start a list and begin the process. Okay. Initially, for me doing it on my own is going to take about 12 to 18 months per dog. So that part of the program is not a fast one. And unless you have facilities and more dog trainers, you can't make it a fast one.
Yeah, right.
Because it takes all the training for the dog, but then it requires the training with the handler that they're going to speak the same lingo as the trainer. If you don't teach the handler the same way that you're training the dog, it's not going to do the job. The whole idea is that after a point of time, I hand you the dog, even though that I trained it for 12 to 18 months, he's no longer listening to me. He's not listening to you.
Okay.
And that's the goal.
Yeah. Wow. Jose, what a fascinating discussion. What a fascinating life you have lived, and you're still living. You're still doing it and moving on. It's funny. Do you know Corey Reeves?
Of course. Yeah,
so another special operator, a great teammate, great brother. Corey, he's a technical diver. So this guy is a former Special Forces pilot, basically, and so he retired, left all that behind, and now he's a technical diver. He dives very deep, mixed gas, and he established a whole business around, starting a brand new career in diving. Jose Vazquez, Army Special Operator with all these qualifications and weapons and capabilities, and you're a boat captain.
So you know who's supporting OTD Kraken and Corey Reeves?
You.
Long time lines.
I love that.
So we just did Guanaja, Honduras. We did Roatan.
Wow.
We had nine divers, but we had like 10 people.
Dude, I didn't know that.
Last year we did San Lucia.
Yeah.
And we had 14 couples.
Wow.
So I'm working on my scuba diving stuff and helping him, and everywhere he goes, I'm going.
That's
with
great.
Daniela.
He's next. He's the next one to be on the Bob Pizzini show. Yeah, him. He's got a remarkable wife and a remarkable family as well, and his wife, Vanessa, retired Air Force E9.
That's right.
And, there's just a special connection there for everybody who's worn the uniform.
Yeah, but, it would be great for you to, for Corey to be next. Because OTD Kraken and bringing those couples into the scuba diving world is such an amazing experience and connection.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. And I am honored to be working with OTD Kraken and Corey in that world. I got my hands on everything.
Yeah, that is so cool. Man, we are just so blessed to know so many incredible people like Corey, for example. All right, what haven't I asked you? Is there anything that you think our listeners should know that we haven't discussed yet?
Well, no, I think we've discussed a lot of wonderful things. But for the listeners, especially anyone in the nonprofit side, it's not a competition. We have our purpose, and our purpose should be the veterans and their spouses. For me, I chose the Gold Star families and the first responders because they deal with a lot of the trauma that we deal with. For all those listening, let's get together as nonprofits and get after it the best way we can, because one life saved is for us to do. And the more we do it as a team, because we are pack animals, the better we'll end up for all of us.
Pack animals, so many great takeaways. We are pack animals. That's great. Thank you so much, Jose. What a great discussion. Thanks to Podfinity Nation, Warriors Haven, and everybody behind those organizations that make this possible. If you like this podcast, if you know somebody who would benefit from this podcast, please like and share. If you want to be on this podcast, if you have a wonderful story to share, please send us an email at podfinitynation@gmail.com.